A man with a plan. 8-4 in Pro League this season. 4-2, Zerg. And in his total Pro League statistics, he's played nearly 200 games. He is in the 100 wins club, along the likes of members like Sulky, who just joined recently, Flash, Sejong, Stork. There's so many good players in there.
Stats sometimes a guy for KT who flies under the radar. He's kind of their fourth player behind Zest, TY, and Flash rather. And he's really good. He's really strong. Don't get me wrong, but those three players are performing so well these days that he kind of flies under the radar. But he's like a huge fourth place player for them. And over here, he's going to be going up against DRG. Right now, 7-7 all time here at Pro League 2014 and total, and just 2-4 versus Protoss.
Yeah, he's not so bad overall, but in this matchup, he's been having a bit of a tough time. Now, King Sejong Station is our map, and actually with Protoss versus Zerg, well, I'll talk about it in just a minute because we're going to jump into the game right away, right now. This is the SPL 2014 with Brendan and Wolf.
Down here in the bottom of the right on King Sejong Station in the red for KT Rolster, the Protoss player. It's Stats.
And to the top left in teal, the final boss, it's DongRaeGu. Now, I was talking a little bit about this map, or attempting to talk about this map before we got into this, before the players just so rudely were ready and
interrupted so rudely. They better apologize to you later. I'll be angry.
Apologize for playing that game. Now, the Protoss versus Zerg stats on this map are actually 9 and 10. So it's almost 50-50 in Pro League. And if you look at Protoss versus Protoss and Zerg versus Zerg, there's been 11 Protoss versus Protoss so far on this map and 6 Zerg versus Zerg. So still a more Protoss-picked map, but pretty good stats. Pretty balanced map overall. It's a map that the early game, I would say, off of 3 bases, but I guess the early to mid game seems to favor Protoss, but the late game favors Zerg. And we have a pool first here very early coming into this one for DRG.
Yeah, looked like that was a 9 pool. And over here, looking at stat space, he's not making anything. I don't know if I don't think he's going to put down that gateway here, actually. I think he might just go Nexus first. With the probes we had queued up there and the minerals he's banking right now. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh, Brennan, there it goes. That lone probe. Born to drop a Nexus.
He's all alone.
No one's there beside him.
What?
No one's there beside him. He was there by himself.
No, yeah, it's true, yeah.
So now he's going to go scout.
He's not going to be happy with what he sees.
No. Well, I mean, the probe won't actually have any emotions because it's a probe. But stats will not be happy about the information that the probe.
I guess I should be more clear with that.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be careful with your pronouns. You also said he, which the probe is actually genderless as well. And
oh man, I'm just messing everything up today.
I mean, the thing is, like, but in your defense, you could have meant he referring to stats because you said he, so that's a bit clearer.
Well,
it's really it's tough to say. Now, here come those lings up into the natural now. Going to go into the main here. Going to, I guess, leave 2 lings to scratch on the Nexus, mess up the paint. But in the main base, he's going to come over here and see if he can get some probe kills. Definitely going to force some probes off the line. I think Micro's even a little bit better than we saw Sue do at the GGT. He's definitely going to get something done here.
Yeah, just a tiny bit better, and I think he should be okay. So far, no kills, though, for any of those Zerglings. Very nice micro out of stats here, and he's going to chrono boost out a Zealot here, which should put an end to that harass. The problem being for stats is that he invested those 400 minerals into this Nexus, and it's definitely going to go down.
Yeah, no way he's going to stop this one. Core way too far away for getting a Mothership Core. He's actually going to fight with probes here. What is he thinking? That's, like, definitely not going to work. Right now, DRG's like, what? I'm going to kill your probes and your Nexus? Well, gee, thanks.
DRG's happily accepting this gift that Stats was able to give to him.
Now he might actually just catch the Zealot.
He's lost so much mining time with so many of those drones.
I think he might actually just lose the game here. Well, he's going to lose his pylon.
I think maybe Stats wasn't expecting a follow-up of this many Zerglings.
Yeah, I think that's a correct assessment.
DongRaeGu did a really good job of actually following this up when he knew Stats wouldn't expect it.
Well, I mean, he's got the Mothership Core now, and the probes can fight with the Zealots, so he's going to clean this up. But he's lost so much. He lost the pylon, he lost a ton of probes, and admittedly, you know, I really thought he was going to do more here, but I think that he definitely overextended with his Zerglings there. There's like no reason to throw those away.
Yeah, he made a little bit of a mistake. Stats was doing a very nice job just with his micro on the probes, saving a lot of them there. And the Zealots doing their job were able to kill off most of those Zerglings, as well as that Mothership Core.
Well, I have to say that in this situation also, beyond the kills, the lost mining time was huge. We saw units lost up at the top left just briefly. They give you guys a little bit of that heads up. Hold that thought, he's going to catch us out here. Resources lost currently 406 for the Zerg versus 850 for the Protoss, so double. And considering resources mined, which unfortunately we don't yet have a tab for, but I'm hoping that Blizzard will eventually one day add that because I've been wanting it for a long time. Maybe GameHard will add it or something. That's just a terrible spot for Stats right now. He does not have the resources that he would normally have at this point in the game. DRG is caught up and has also caught up in the worker count. He's going to have better saturation because he has 2 bases, so his income is much better. Something else you guys can't see at first hand on this particular overlay that we have here, but if you just watch the minerals go up and you look at that pretty closely, you'll be able to tell that it's a pretty big difference right now.
Yeah, I mean, after that, he knew that the aggression out of Stats is basically going to be non-existent here for a while, and he had 2 bases with 2 queens that he was able to get up quickly because he did have those, you know, he did have the early pull there, so he was able to get the queens quickly as well, and he just has been droning up so much. He's up to, you know, with these next drones here, he's going to go up to 40, whereas Stats has been on 1 base now, and he's only at 26.
Well, it hurts that he lost that Overlord, DRG. He's going to poke over here, see those gates at the front, and I'm going to check to see if he's actually seen the Forge, because I'm not quite sure.
You do that.
I have like a really, there's like a huge bug in the map for spectators on my computer, so like I can't actually check.
I'm just like watching you try to do this with the mic in your hand.
Oh, it's so hard,
impossible. Well, we do have Stats over here pressuring. DRG is going to send his 2 Zerglings over here, try to run it to the base, but nice sentry here on hold position.
He does see the Forge, by the way, and I was able to somehow like figure that out, get that assessment for you guys, but with that information, he knows what he's up against with the gates at the front and the no 3rd Nexus. He also knows the probe count is abysmal right now. And so for DRG, all he needs to do now is find out, okay, are you taking a 3rd base? And if you do, is it for real? Like for realsies? Like for sure, for serious?
Not for falsies.
No.
Not for fakesies either.
No, you know, no takebacks on the Nexus either. No cancels. Okay, it's got to be a real Nexus that's being mined from. Or if it's just going to be he pokes here with the sentries, recalls home, and takes a 3rd base that way. So the Lings are going to come over here and see the Nexus. It's not enough Lings to get a cancel off it right yet, but you know, if he sticks around, maybe he can. He's going to kill this probe for sure, which means no wall. He's going to get that pylon. And the sentries, let's see how they respond here. It looks like he's a bit indecisive. He can't recall to this location because the Nexus isn't complete yet.
Yeah, and he warps in 3 more sentries over here. I'm not sure if he had those before or if he just did warp those in, but they are going to be surrounded. But actually, nice force fields are going to keep him alive, but now they can't even attack the Zerglings.
Well, with a little better micro, I think they could have, but for some reason they don't decide to go behind that geyser. Anyways, he doesn't kill the Nexus, he damages it significantly. Sentries have to go home, so DRG shuts down that pressure play without taking any losses, doesn't make any additional units to defend because he knew the units would probably turn around. And now he's making 13 roaches. He's going to have roach speed coming up here in just a moment. He doesn't have the +1 attack. He only has the armor upgrade coming out of his Evo chambers, which is a bit unusual. but it's going to give him obviously a lot of extra armor, which is going to be quite useful against those sentries, because the sentries barely do damage anyways. They're going to do even less against that armor.
Yeah. The thing here is that DRG definitely has a big lead. I mean, Stats has been behind in the economy for a long time, so DRG has been able to use so many of his resources on a bunch of these drones and now into army units. The one thing he has to be careful of is if Stats decides to go very aggressive here, that he's not too greedy. He needs to make sure that he's not, taking too many bases, making too many drones here. He just has to play it standard from here on out, and I think he can take this one. Gets a nice changeling into the main base here. He's going to see everything.
Yeah, he sees everything, and when you go in for an attack like this, it's important to know what you're up against. Wants to bait out some force fields here or maybe get some damage done while he attacks at the other side. And he's got, right now, the entire base of Stats controlled. And what he's planning on doing next is switching into Mutalisk. So there's a lot of sentries here. There's only one Stalker on the ground. He's got a ton of Lings, too, to support. So he's going to come harass over here. There's only one cannon. And killing the cannon's actually going to be tough. He might actually just want to go and kill some probes instead. Looks like he's going to go for the wall itself. Forces the Nexus cannon there, that overcharge. And the roaches are pushed away, but that Mutalisk switch, he's ready. He's going to make, looks like about 12 or 13 mutas here right off the bat.
Yeah, and he just took this force base, and he should be mining out of that gas, but I guess he's okay on gas for now. Maybe a little bit later he's going to go into that, but he has ample resources to get basically whatever he wants right now.
Ample indeed. He has quite a few of those resources. You know what? He actually starts +1 and goes into Infestation Pit though here. Bit of a bit of lack of commitment here from DRG. It's not just quite ready yet.
Not yet, but there he goes.
He had a talk with his Spire. They decided that they were right for each other. Now he commits the 14 Mutalisks.
Yeah, and he actually does this before he sees the 2 Stargates go down. So, even though there's going to be 14 Mutalisks out here and it's going to be very hard for Stats to deal with, if DRG messes up his mic or if he's not aggressive enough, Stats, given enough time, can get out a bunch of Phoenixes here as long as he identifies this play.
Well, right now, basically, he's already transitioning to DRG. He's trying to use these Mutalisks. It's enough to do some damage. Hold that thought. Let's see how much damage he gets done with this ground army here. It's actually just going to burst his way through those cannons. He's going to try to retreat here, it looks like, with most of his roaches. But he's done some damage, but he distracts that army, that Protoss army that's very immobile here, away from the third base. Now he's going to want to probably blink over here to chase the mutas, right? But if he does that, then again his natural is exposed. There's so many probes going down here. The Stalker's finally coming over here. The Mutalisks can now bounce into the main base. And speaking of bounces, those Glaive Worms doing a lot of bounce damage on the probes.
Definitely. He gets his first 2 Phoenixes out here, and he's going to get those Chrono Boosted out. A bit of nice force fields here actually going to stop that attack from doing much. But he's got to be careful of those sentries. Nice blink in here is going to defend them.
Yeah, that was a bit overzealous there, I would say, by DRG to stick around there. But he's transitioned into Swarm Hosts, like I was saying before. He's about to have 15 Swarm Hosts. 15. That's a lot.
15.
That's 30 Locusts per wave.
And as far as I know, there has not been one Colossus that has come out here. He has the tech for it, but he hasn't gotten the range here. He's going to be lacking on that AoE damage a ton.
So, this is exactly what DRG is planning. He's, okay, make your Stargate, make your Phoenixes, make your Fleet Beacon even. Fleet Beacon in the building. And I'm going now into Swarm Host. So I'm going to have these Locusts coming out. You don't have the AoE damage. And yeah, you could buy time with all your sentries because you have a ton of sentries still for some reason. But it's not going to be enough, and I'm going to eventually whittle you down. Look at how much support he has for these Swarm Hosts now, too. Just unloads them and then moves back because he doesn't have to overcommit here. And he's just going to, any free unit he gets is a good trade. It's not even a trade, actually. It's basically a steal. It's like stealing money.
Protoss units half off here.
Protoss units full off. Come and pick it up. You have to come and pick it up, but otherwise it's free. Oh, he's going to catch a Swarm Host here or 2.
Yeah, that's 1, and there's no support here for these guys. It's going to be 2. No Observer with this, as far as I know, but he is going to get these 3 Swarm Hosts so far.
That's also a good trade here, but see if it actually ends up mattering. 11 Corruptors to come out for an army that consists of 0 Colossi right now. It's getting range. 2 Colossi are just now started, and 2 Void Rays as well. But
DRG needs to move these drones. There they go, a couple of them. Does deflect the attack eventually. The only problem here is that DRG, again, you know, his attacks aren't being super fruitful. They're doing some damage, but they're not as good as they could have been. But it doesn't really matter because he's got 5 bases. And he has had 80 drones. He went down 71 because he's making a bunch of spine crawlers here and lost some of them.
Yeah.
Well,
he's
actually losing a lot of them.
Yeah. But there are 15 Corruptors now on the map, and they are not going to worry about Phoenixes at all. That one Corruptor getting a bit ahead of itself, though. And this attack, this location, this angle, so good for DRG. Looks like he's got these Void Rays here poised to maybe try to go forward and snipe those. But now Queen's coming in here, more Swarm Hosts joining the battle. All 11 of them now getting into position, and he does have those Corruptors nearby. It's a decent amount of Stalkers, though, and those Void Rays are going to add so much extra damage into anything they fire on at this point, except Zerglings. But,
yep. Lucas having a bit of a midlife crisis there, almost turn around, but then go again to attack the Protoss units. Well, here we go. Both armies positioning here, and now starting to take out some of these Swarm Hosts, but now having to back off after putting this. The Corruptor's doing so much damage right now. This Colossi barely hitting anything.
Yep, the Colossi, once they fall, it means that the Locust and the rest of these Roaches are going to be able to come in and do their maximum damage, but still, great micro here by Stat so far. Few Void Rays coming from the back, actually going to start fighting against those Corruptors, and even fighting against Roaches is not a bad choice. And now he starts targeting down those Corruptors. The Colossi, one does fall, but the rest of them are micro decently, and the Phoenixes are going to have to pull back here again to those Void Rays. And this is just being a slightly better trade for DRG here, who has much better economy and is going to remax. And, you know, the Phoenixes can maybe beat the Corruptors, but it costs him all of his Phoenixes, which you can't just remake 9 or 10 of. It doesn't have the resources, first of all. And that's not how Protoss works. That's not how Stargates work. That's how Zerg works. And that's why DRG is happy to do this.
Yeah. Stats once again, just barely. You know, even this attack will be eventually held off. He's just like barely holding off these attacks. But like you said before, just such a good economy back at home for DRG. He's in a very comfortable spot. You know, he waited a while to see what he would remax in here. Well, looks like it's in a bunch of these Swarm Hosts again, and some Corruptors as well.
He's getting like a bunch of different types of units. He's continuing to get his upgrades too, which is where part of his bank is going. He's going to have +2 for his Corruptors and his Mutalisks. He's going to have +2 for his Roaches and his Locusts a little bit sooner, a little bit soon after. And he's also getting a second Evolution Chamber, so probably going to be getting some more Carapace upgrades. Now, these Locusts over here going to force the Stalkers back. They're trying to deny creep. Something that DRG has done a great job of this game. There's enough Roaches here with the Spine Claws with just a little bit more micro. I don't think he's going to lose too much here, especially with a few more Roaches popping out. And in fact, even without micro, he's doing fine.
If he's paying attention, he should be okay, but that one Zealot actually getting pretty close to taking on that Queen. Eventually he gets cleaned up here. One thing I was worried about here for Stats is taking a 4th base. But you know, like, DRG was pushed back a bunch, but he's not going to let this happen if he's, you know, aware of this. It looks like he wants to come back across the map and punish Stats for this.
Yeah, picks off another Observer. A few Archons coming out here, 2 more Voids. A Hive is on the way now. And this position right now is likely to force a cancel on this base. There's just not enough Stats army just yet. He is getting another Archon here, and he does have those Colossi, but it's still, I just don't think this is going to be enough. Especially with these Corruptors here to help zone out the army. He could just target down the Nexus. He doesn't commit, though. And you know what? He holds it.
Yeah. You know, DRG being a little bit flaky here. It was up for a while, that Nexus, so it did have a lot of health there.
True.
And actually, all the damage that went down there was on the shields. But now here he comes back. Once those Voids don't have the overcharge, and now they're going to go down very, very fast.
Yeah, those Archons there at the front do not want to be fighting against Locusts and Roaches if they can help it. One more auto attack on that Archon would kill it. Just a right click there on the Roach, but he doesn't get it.
Some Zealots in the middle of the map trying to cut off those Swarm Hosts here, but
I'm not even
with
sure
that as well.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if that was like his original plan or if he was just trying to run by over here, but regardless, he's not really on either front going to have much success. He will kill a Queen.
Yeah, and there was one Zealot back there killing a couple of drones in the gas.
This Zealot is like on its own mission, man.
Look at this guy.
That's like Harrison Ford Zealot over there.
He even snuck by those Roaches. What a sneaky snake.
Well, I don't know where he ended up now. I think he's actually still doing damage.
He's still on the 3rd base.
He's got his own mission, man. Is he gonna kill the Queen?
Would have liked to see that, but instead we're going to get a look at these 5 roaches come into the main base of stats.
Queen survives with 3 health, by the way.
Yeah.
And roaches over here will be cleaned up.
They do burrow. They try to hide behind that curtain we were talking about yesterday. The little kid playing hide and seek.
Yep. 29
under the observer.
29 mutas, man. That's like that's probably game. There are 3 Archons and a few High Templar.
And he's got so many Corruptors to back it up.
Yeah, I mean, Phoenixes are going to just take way too long to get out against this many Mutalisks.
Yeah, and still 8 Swarm Hosts on the ground as well. Some Zealot's going to come in here and try to
4 spines,
attack at these spines. Yeah, I don't think it's going to do much.
A lot of spines
over here.
Oh, boy. It's just not even... This is like when stats either types out or performs a miracle.
Well, he's getting the Phoenix range upgrade, and he's starting to make his Phoenixes once again.
I mean, he has no angle of attack. DRG has dominated him here. And, I mean, I don't see him blocked out of his base by his own pylon, unpowering some of his gateways. He's going to go ahead and target down these Stargates, knowing that's one of the problem, tech structures that might actually occur for his Mutalisks. If he can actually get his Phoenixes up, then that's an issue. The Archons obviously are great against Mutalisks, so are the High Templar, but it's hard to finish the Mutalisks off. You can do a lot of damage to them, but once you fly away, the Mutalisks have such a high regeneration rate that it's hard to actually kill them. And look at this, he's going to show us just that. You know, he's going to fight against these Void Rays for a minute, eat a Storm, fly back. Void Rays get too close, away from those Archons, turns around again. Another Storm goes down, and he's whittling down these Protoss units. And now he's going to go over here and probably kill this base, especially with the Locust coming down here from the other side.
Yeah.
Not going to commit, though.
Yeah. Again, just not committing his DRG. I feel like he could win that fight and just, remax. If you look at his bank, he's at 2,000 right now at 200 supply, whereas Stats is just, trying to scrap together all the coins in the couch to make, one more Archon to defend this. And if DRG just trades a bunch of times, I feel like he could take the game, but he's playing it very safe.
Yeah. I mean, look at his bank. I think he's trying to decide if he wants to use that Hive tech that he has to go into something further here, or if he's just going to make only Mutalisks for the rest of the game, since he's killed a lot of that Stargate infrastructure. Still a lot of the army supplies in Colossi and Void Rays, and he's going to pick off some more of these Phoenixes. I think he's just going to stick with Mutas and Corruptors for the rest of the game. He could try to go into some Vipers, for example, to get some yanks on those Archons, pull them in. Possibly even try to go into Ultralisk here. But why do that against this many Void Rays? I think he's just going to keep sticking with his army. Pulling far away from the Archons, it looked like that was his plan. He was going to take a fight over here, but he's still actually losing some Corruptors.
Yeah, and back here, he tried to go 2-pronged here with the Swarm Hosts, which are going to start working on the Robo, but Stats very smartly here is going to keep those Colossi back to clear up those Locusts. In the meantime, trying to do some harassier stats at the natural. Getting cleaned quickly by the Mutas, but it does bring them back, which is the main important thing there.
Yeah, he also killed a Queen, so a few injects going to be lost over there. There aren't as many Queens left on the map as you might think. In fact, looking at the units tab right now, there are a grand total of 0 Queens. So he's actually killed every single Queen, and oh, these Colossi are dead.
Looking silly right now.
Gonna even use those Locusts to help him target down the Nexus now. Can kill further more Stargates. And Stats is in some deep doo-doo, man.
Doo-doo indeed. Well, Phoenix is picking off a couple of those Mutas, but with the incredible support there from the Corruptors. Ton of Corruptors, ton of Mutas on the map. Now he's going to go back at the Swarm Hosts. I mean, I just feel like literally he can make whatever he wants at this point.
Yeah, it's about like that at this moment in time. Did we just witness another chair death?
I heard a sound, but oh yeah, someone died.
If a chair breaks in the middle of the Pro League studio and no one hears it, doesn't make a sound.
Made a sound to me.
Well,
I hear everything.
Those Phoenixes eat part of the damage on the Storm. Not too significant, but look at the production tab. He's making an Observer, a Colossus, and +3 air weapons. That's it. He's got so much more gap in supply to fill. He's losing even more Zealots here.
There have been so many awkward Zealots in this game. Let me just say this, just all over the map, just not doing anything, being picked off by DRG, and it's just that one Zealot who is on his own mission as well.
He didn't kill the queen either. It's so sad. All right, he's just going to pick off this Stargate. Looks like he's trying for it. Looks like a cancel on the Stargate even. Maybe making that. And the Locust over here may finish that off. And yeah, he's killing some Swarmos now.
But in the meantime, all the mutas are over at the 4th base. And even though there are 3 Archons here, he's got a nice split on those, or rather spread on those mutalisks. And it did take out the 3 Archons, but they are going to be pushed back once again.
He lost a lot. I want to know what he's remaking. Okay, 17 more mutalisks and 5 corruptors. He's getting +2 for ground units as well as the +3 carapace. So we're going to be seeing Ultralisk likely if there's ever a transition out of this. You could also make a ton of Lings. Now, these Phoenixes are getting some serious work done over here.
Even going to pick off a bunch of these mutas that just popped out.
Stat's going to fight his way back into this. I mean, still a tough place for him, but I mean, he's taken some pretty big wins here.
Yeah, he killed a lot of the mineral mining drones for DRG, and now DRG has a very, very small mineral bank here. Now the Phoenix is getting in a very nice position to start doing a lot of damage to these mutas and corruptors.
Way out controlling DRG here. DRG is looking a bit lost right now.
I have to say, like, DRG, he got a big advantage, but then he never went for it. He never, like, just went for that advantage that he had and tried to take the game. He's playing way too safe here.
Well, now, you know, with the way that those Phoenix lasers link, it becomes a big problem trying to engage against corruptors like this. And, I mean, he's picking off Overlords now. He's just flying around, trashing on DRG. Now he's going to come over and kill his hatchery.
Yep. Free hatch.
Brendan, the comeback is real, Kappa.
Comeback is really real. You know, making a bunch of these mutalisks against late game toss when they can make so many Phoenixes so fast, I don't know if this is the composition as well. You got a lot of Archons out as well. I mean, it is to say that Stats is still basically on 1.5 bases there. But, you know, DRG, is he really that much better right now?
Stats' army is way better.
Yeah, that's the big thing here.
Those infestors are so supposed to have been made a long time ago. I don't, there's no adjective for this, so I created that. That's a lot of spine crawlers he's going to try to break through here. Oh, wow, catching some more Swarmos here, though. And that hurts.
Focus on the Observer here. He is going to kill the Observer.
Yeah. Phoenix is over here, still a bit vulnerable to that Spore Crawler. Are we going to have an elimination race? It looks like we might. 8 infestors are certainly going to make it a lot easier because he can lock those units down and slow them.
I feel like the Phoenixes don't have to be here right now. I mean, he's going to use them to try to get to the drones, which can be okay, but they could be over there microing against the mutas.
It's a tough call to make. I think I would agree with you on this in some aspects, but on the other hand, there still are 16 corruptors there too. And it's hard to micro everything all at once, and if you mess that up, then you lose all your Phoenixes, then you probably lose the game because the mules are going to fly around you forever. He's got so many infestors out on the map right now. In total, he has actually... Oh, wow, my unit tab is also bugged. He's got a lot. I need to figure out what's going on with my UI.
Yeah, he definitely has a lot. There's one thing to say.
So
now he's
that part earlier where I said he had no queens, like he probably had queens. I'm not sure what's going on with my unit tab.
Now he has 2. And 12 infestors.
12 infestors, okay. Yeah, I think there's a bug with my custom UI that's on my computer. Because I think this used to be the observing PC for StarCraft 2, and now it's like the old Pro League UI. Anyway, it's not important. I'll get that fixed eventually. But at this moment in time, we have a pretty nasty situation for Stats because he lost so much of his infrastructure. And those changelings are bugged on the mini-map. Looks like we have, like, clouds.
Yeah, I was wondering what those were. Like, maybe skulls or something. Well, Phoenix is coming back over here, going to micro against these units. If he, like, gets behind, he can do a lot better against the mutas. Definitely do so much damage. But it's hard, because DRG's doing it nicely so far, keeping the corruptors way out in front.
Even corrupts that stalker. I mean, how long is this going to work on one base? We saw a game where Squirtle actually won a game on one base on Belshire Beach.
Well, if you look at DRG's mineral mining as well, it looks like he's mining minerals out of one base as well.
If you do have this one base, like Squirtle did on Belshire Beach, Squirtle versus Curious, a very famous game from like 2012, and you have the perfect infrastructure set up. You have Storm and you have cannons, and you beat the Ultralisk, Ling, Muta, everything. Like, just defend it once. If the Zerg gets impatient, and you can counterattack and win the game. But DRG is playing this very carefully. He's slowly getting those Ultras out. This is going to be, dare I say it, a serious problem. I think he's just going to double fungal here. Maybe drop some Infested Terrans. If he just spams Infested Terrans, I'll be disappointed. Okay. Double fungal, and then one more. There you go. Goodbye, every probe. And now he's got more over here to catch the Phoenixes. Oh
my
no! Uh-oh! No answer for this anymore. No way to deal with those Mutalisks and Corruptors. And the Void Rays, a bit brave themselves, get fungled once more, and here come the Mutalisks. And they want revenge for all the Phoenix harass they've been dealing with this game and putting up with.
That was a huge catch out of DRG and a very nice strategy. I feel like Stats was not ready for it. And
well, sending the Phoenixes clumped up against the Infestor problem is usually not the solution.
That he knew about, but...
Oh my god, you killed and fungled a bunch of clumped up units that really affects the outcome of this game. Let me clump up some more units on top of where that happened and see if we can solve this problem that way. No, that's not the answer, Stats. Well, this base is purely being used as pro production and chrono boost at this point in time. And wow, he actually saves it. Sends like 2 meters over there to kill it.
Well, this game that started as a 9 pool, I think, went all the way to 41 minutes right now. And it's showing signs of coming to an end. DRG is doing a very nice job of trying to finally end it. But still having some trouble. We saw, Templar Archives go down once again, and he's making a ton of Archons with the huge gas bank he had, Stats.
Yeah, more fungals going down here as well. And he's trying to break through, but it's not happening. Ultra is coming from the side here with Queens to help transfuse. There's never been a more dead Stats than there is now.
Well, Storms go down. The final Archons are going to go down here. Corruptors hanging by as cheerleaders, swinging their tails.
Stats has really made a long hold here, but DRG has won the game. DRG, you could see in his booth for just a second there, he put out a sigh of relief as he knows there's no way for Stats to recover any longer now. He's won the game. He has total control over the map. There's no way Stats can move out. He has the better composition. He better not let those Infestors die. What is he doing? So many Infestors killed just there. Was not paying attention, but he's still going to just kill these Archons and laugh at them because it doesn't really matter that much, but that was painful to watch.
Final Archon finally gets fungled, and there's the GG.
Well, DRG pulling a bit of an upset here against Stats, I think many would say.
Yeah.
Fixing his hair.
He's been sitting down for way too long. He needs to get up and stretch his legs. Taking it very slow. I feel like he could have ended a little bit sooner, but DRG not a man to go and take any big risks. And he's going to take the first game here for MVP.
And KT is probably like, what just happened? That was a game where DRG controlled things early, made a lot of big mistakes, especially control-wise. But eventually was able to just win out the game through superior control and decision-making. At the very, very end of things, was really safe about how he moved across the map, almost too safe at times. But eventually, with all the static D that he made, there was no way for Stats to move across the map and end things or try to take an elimination race. That's what we saw. He